just took the concept from someone else and ran with it. And maybe Luke would be disappointed to learn that George Lucas was not his father, that Joseph Campbell was. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if he would have had the same reaction. But no, he was not the creation of Luke. And Lucas gave him Luke's name. He like named him after himself. Like, yes. Of course, nobody does that, right? Like, I didn't do that. So what can we learn from George Lucas? You rip off other people's ideas and skills. No. I mean, kind of. So here we go. Why maybe? Okay, so I think my impressions, we can learn to be well read. Like when Lucas read Hero with 1,000 Faces, he was many years out of USC Film School, and he could have been like, I went to USC Film School, it's the greatest film school in the country. Like, especially back then, like, I got it. He didn't do that though, he kept reading. And there was no sin with him just reading more stuff. Especially when he said in that same banquet, he said, he's like, I had the cinematography down, and I had getting the actors down, but I just did not have the story. Like, I just could not, I wasn't good at script writing. And we can learn to be humble and teachable, because Lucas also could have been, I'm coming out of USC. I have turned out a couple good films, but he didn't do that. But overall, we can learn how to implement story into our business ventures, because that's exactly what George Lucas did. It wasn't like, see, people are going to go to episode 8 in a year, and they're going to be, and it might break episode 7's record, and episode 7 broke all the records except for international box office, and they're just going to walk out of the theater and think it's great, and like, oh, what if, this beautiful vision George Lucas had back in the 1970s. When really, that's not what we should be appreciating out of George Lucas, even though my whole life and like childhood, I grew up thinking, playing with like the Boba Fett action figure and like remaking a new like trilogy and like putting it on like the cupboard above our phone desk, like, and doing it according to like our action figures and Legos. I'm thinking there was this vision that Lucas had, but it's the vision that he had was a business vision. It wasn't a film vision. It was him knowing, having those skills in the last slide, and then knowing how to incorporate that into his own ventures. And my theory is that he was extremely confident that because he went ahead and started that business before he even had that big break. Well, a global break, but like he didn't. The point is, he didn't have any break. Like his first 2 movies didn't do anything, so the studios weren't going to listen to him. He didn't have that credibility yet that would have got him, others. So that's the key. Like, and like we get these images that are so like iconic and things, but like it came out of business vision. It's really amazing to me. So now we need to like let us reason together. Let us like step for a step here. So you guys have competitors. They're hungry as hell. They want to like, they might be hungry like literally, so they're like working hard to eat, let alone like hungry to succeed. They're going to be offering discounts as well. You got to do that. Like, I don't buy it. I don't know if you guys do it. Like, sometimes I'm done, but I try not to buy anything without a discount. And like, how many competitors do you have? Like, I'm doing PR. Like, there's tons of PR people in the area. Like, and Salt Lake is only so big, so I know that it's crazy. How are you going to be more memorable if there's all these competitors and they're all matching you up? Like, how am I going to be? All these questions reflect on me. Like, don't think that I'm trying to just be a jerk, but it's just true. So we have to connect emotionally. We have to. There's only so many people who can do that. And I think it's through talent, but it's also through skill. And if you don't have the talent, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to tell stories. You're going to be able to connect emotionally and account for these person. So then you have to be able to develop a relationship. And we know, like, let's jump straight to like the heart relationship, okay? Like, we know whether it be thoughtful things, cards, flowers, dinners, just dates, lots of time spending, learning their love language and going, like, addressing that, like, you're going to their heart. I don't, like, yeah, I mean, not that I've done well at that, but like, we know that that's how you do it, right? So, and then, so think about these two right here, and then think about how many times you're pulled into a story. Think about, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't in the last few days. If you had to read a movie or a book or a TV show or an article in paper or something that did that for you. Like, the last 3 movies I've gone to, like, I cried, and I know if you give me 30 seconds, you're probably think of one from yesterday. So we're always pulled emotionally, and it's stories all the time. So listen to the man. You know that's true. You know that we have to do things beyond what the rest of the competition is doing. And we have to be able to connect emotionally, and we have to be able to use stories to do it. So at this moment, the Dark Lord's words cannot be more apropos. After he broke the news to Mr. Scott. So business and storytelling got together, right? And a perfect baby was born. And we know that these two didn't get big together, but hopefully Siri, she's probably a pretty perfect baby. So. Business and storytelling get together. That started in 1895. So it's actually, as you might think, as I've thought before, content marketing is just a phenomenon. As I say the magical 2 words before we get to it. It's not. It started, I mean, this was 4 years after basketball was invented. Like, it's been around for a long time. So then you had another one 5 years later, another one 4 years later, and these are, these companies, John Deere, Michelin, JLL, they're still around, right? And then the phrase content marketing, 1996. So it's actually been 20 years since it's been introduced by our journalism friends. And then someone gets the title for that only 2 years later. Like 98, the internet was like barely coming out. Incredible author the next year, jumped to 2 years ago. Forbes is making it a priority in their coverage. And their columnist says that the use of content marketing had jumped across corporations by 33% from 2012 to 2013. So, what child is this? Definitely not this one. The Rhett philosophy. Everybody gets pitched or spam too. I'll say spam. Before, sadly, that's why I quit that job. But it happens to everybody. Content marketing arrived at a time in which folks wanted authenticity, which, aside from emotional connection and all the powerful elements of storytelling, like those Campbell divides, is exactly what it provides. Like, you get to see like the inner workings of a business or its CEO, and that will intrigues you. That makes you want to. It makes you more likely to buy. So here's some cardinal things about it. Always involves the creation and sharing of media and publishing content. The content could be various. We'll talk about that. It must relate to the product. So like if you're selling if you're selling vacuums and you know you gotta have your content be about that in some way. It could even be like the plastic to the vacuum was developed from the rainforests of Brazil, and the rainforests of Brazil have, you know, house, you know, 3 different species of monkeys and indigenous people that go back to the pre-Columbian. It really starts to get interesting, but like, so it's kind of loose, like indigenous people and like plastic on vacuums, but there's still that connection. So it still has to have that. The content's main focus is on the needs of the prospective customer. So just you're addressing their issue, same like just general marketing. And then there's a lot of ways you can do it. Content marketing, it doesn't have to be just like straight up writing. It can be like, well, blogs are popular, but it doesn't have to be just that. It can be white papers, ebooks, newsletters, and that's online or in print. And I love signing up for the newsletter. That's, as a consumer, that's my favorite. You'll even see the boxes pop down and offer for signups and stuff. Various article forms, so it could be a Q&A. That could be like customer vendor. It could be with like the CEO, and then blogs, which is huge. Okay, so 33% in the year, corporations from 2012 to 2013, and then just a little more on this. 93% of organizations rely on content marketing for brand building and demand generation. 93%. Like, still, like 5%. Like if it's 5% or less, it's not statistically significant. So you get like 2% more of this, and it's not even an issue. It's like, why aren't you doing this? And then this one's 8% off only. 87% of buyers believe that digital content has a large impact on their purchasing decisions. And digital content can be a variety of things, but content marketing is a huge slice of that pie. Okay, so a couple of examples of now, Red Bull and Mint.com. I should maybe thank Red Bull for the perhaps over energy I'm exhibiting right now, since I patronized them today. But anyway, so they have YouTube videos. That's how they've done it. So content can be just not, like videos. Sponsored events as well around extreme sports and other things. And then they actually, so they have their like their company, but then they actually have like another department called the Red Bull Media House that actually produces movies and TV shows, like their spots. It's pretty amazing. Mint.com, I like even more. They did 2 blogs. Usually you see one, like they had 2, but it worked for them. So first one, Mint Life, resulted in 170 million, 3 years in business only. Trainwreck Tuesdays, 7 years, 10 million users, and this is like personal finance. So this is really like important. Okay, so then you have your influencers too. This is at the corporate level. You got Panera Bread, Starbucks, Southwest Airlines, National Associates of Realtors, Marriott, KFC, Disney, Virgin America, Pandora, Gatorade, Nike, Home Depot, BHLDN, GoPro, Sharpie, Whole Foods, Doritos, Birchbox, Refinery 29, Coke, AT&T, Apple, Taco Bell, Maybelline, Goldie Box, ALS, HelloFo, Flow, Cheerios, Lyft, and Uber. Google it. It's crazy. General Electric, Denny's, many more. So yeah, it's nuts. But we don't need to like Calvin in that last slide, like, whoo, everybody's doing it. What do we do? Like I presented all those ways that you can do content marketing, but it really can be just a blog. You can just put something out. I'm just leaving it at that. So you just do something with content marketing. like you would need to have it every 3 weeks or so. But like, tell your story. Just tell your story. But I have to have more because it's important. The rise in popularity in content marketing is almost assuredly because it works, period. Like the 93% stat also was like 2 years old. It's just, I couldn't find anything newer. So it's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher. So blog or do these other things. It just, I think what the key is to just different, like Red Bull is going to benefit, I think, off of videos because a lot of their consumers are very much into extreme sports. And so when they do videos about that, it's going to entice them more. So I just, the mint.com, these were people who wanted to get hold of, just get cracking on their personal finance. And the blogs were about just that, like personal finance tips. So it's just those, like the blogs worked for mint.com because I suppose because it was reading, it's just like you just had to read the info, but then the Red Bull crowd maybe was more prone to watch a video, and so there you go. So you just gotta, I'm not gonna say if you did like a blog and a white paper, you'd be guaranteed to do it, especially with the white paper, but maybe like the newsletters are better for you. You just have to find what type of, like content marketing works, you just gotta find what type to do. Yeah. So if you don't want to do it, which is fine, that's great because there's people who can do it and they will do it for you. So I offer that. I do press releases and social media as well, but content I do as well because it's just so important. So, and it's great. I love it. It's I admit that like this is like really authentic. This is maybe too authentic for content work. But I first was just gonna get into it because the reporting stuff was kind of done. But I found I like it a lot too. Partly because it's so reporting and writing. But then also because there's things we're promoting. Like you guys have awesome things that you're doing and working on. And it's just worth doing and it's fun to do. And so and then I got to add Linda on here too because she owns Big Sexy Words and does writing and things related to this too, and she's wonderful. So, and if any of you are out there do stuff that is content marketing related, I wish I knew because then I could, or you could raise your hand right now and I will point you out too because I think, okay, perfect. So what's your name?
Ashley.
Ashley? Okay. So like there's 3 people in the room right now that with me, Linda, and Ashley who know what's up, right?
Hell so.
Yeah. So we'll do it for you. Okay. So if you want any time as a question mark, because I don't know if there's time.
There is. We've got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
I'll start with a question. When it comes to storytelling and the $4 billion mark, and I'll throw this out to everybody, elaborate on the value of Lucasfilm and the stories that were told there and the deal that went down yesterday with Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. Both of these are a compelling event, storytelling and everything else, but in our mind's eye is UFC got the same valuation as Lucasfilm. How did they get there? A lot of times, you'll have startups that are looking for valuation and how they can get it out there. So I'll start with you and then kind of have that as something that we can tie into how storytelling ties into an incredible 20-year legacy, billions of dollars of media knockoffs and everything else. But like your comparison that you had between Lucasfilms and Campbell, you look at Dana Gross in UFC and George. To me, it seems like a compelling comparison, and they're all based on storytelling. So that would be the first thing I'd throw out there.
So I feel like I'm egging my face because I know what UFC is, but I didn't. I'm just curious how this fighter, or is he on UFC? Or is he?
Yeah, there's two brothers and this
Okay.
guy named Dana Gross that started promoting, all holds everything allowed fighting in the octagon, primarily down in Vegas and stuff about 12 years ago. To me, I'm a geek too. I remember 77. I was in the theater. I've seen the transcendental change to science fiction and CGI and everything else.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, you've been able to, in essence, create something that's like, antiquating boxing and stuff like that. So it's fascinating to me the difference, and just looking at valuation
Right.
of two different things.
Did UFC do a lot of this? Did they incorporate storytelling in some way? Like, did they tell their story of how they changed?
Series that you watch, UFC, I'm a big fan too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's weird, but my boyfriend was really involved in it and everything and all that. So the story is they do like a sitcom every week. They do when people are fighting, they go into the homes, into the gym for the training, and you see their wives, their kids, and how hard they train. Even if you go over in Russia or even in Brazil, they do both in the translator, and then you are more emotionally attached to that fighter when they're fighting.
Yeah. Okay. So they totally.
Kids, it builds that story. Before, it's like, who are these knuckleheads fighting? They can't hurt each other.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't very popular at first, right?
They had to build it, right?
Once they added this element of storytelling where you get into the lives of the fighters, that's when it really took off.
That was like 2-3 years ago. He just like,
They're doing it with the NFL now too. They've got a couple of different series where they go into the live, and I think that's going to propel over the next couple of years with the NFL.
but yeah, the UFC.
And then enter Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
You get the female equation, and
Yeah.
Last paid fighter they have, so.
Yeah, they got me with all the stories they've told about her. Well, I mean, it's cool, man, that stories can. I think it is evidence as to how powerful storytelling is, that it can be from a UFC, from the UFC or from science fiction film, and but it seemed like that formula. I wonder if that formula will be duplicated more, though, because you could go into the personal lives of a lot of people,
Absolutely.
You go into the personal lives of there's LeBron James for the NBA, and it's gonna get.
You'll see it soon enough.
Yeah.
LeBron. NFL's doing it right now. Hard Knocks. Cardinals are featured on Amazon.com. They just did a new feature film, Amazon.com for the first one. But they did the Arizona Cardinals for 8 series. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, they're doing it right now. And I think
That's
all
awesome.
sports are probably going to be doing it, and other medias as well.
Yeah.
The UFC, I think when they took over 12 years ago, they took it over for like nickels and pennies. It wasn't worth anything. Nobody was watching it. It was pretty small at that point. And within a couple of years, it's like billions. Like it's taken over. Just the storytelling.
That's awesome.
Jason, did you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, so I was going to, a question and a comment. The question, I guess, is why do you think, what makes Star Wars a great story? And then for me, my comment is, I've seen some kind of conflict that where, even in the UFC and Star Wars, where there's two people battling and you're picking a winner over, you're picking a winner that you want to win, some kind of conflict or confrontation.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what makes Star Wars a great story?
Well, with the hero's journey that Campbell did, which was really at the crux of the original trilogy's story, it definitely had a lot of conflict, for sure. Conflict with the father, conflict with deciding whether to go on the path, conflict along the path. So I definitely think that's the case. And there's other things too that I don't think Lucas drew as directly from as he did from Campbell with Hero's Journey, but just other motifs, a lot of just Eastern religions that he drew from that informed a lot of the philosophy about the Force, and also even the nature of the Darth Vader villain. So I think that there was just a lot of conflict that was threaded in the different motifs and symbols and stories that Lucas drew from, with perhaps Hero's Journey being the best example of that.
So is that, in your opinion, is that what makes it such a great story? Or is there something else that makes it?
Yeah, I'm obviously biased, but I really think, like, if you compare, I think if you compare Star Wars to like the Greek gods and things like that, it's not the same. Because look at how far those endured, you know. But I really think that in our generation, it is the greatest mythology. Maybe these Avengers movies are starting to, maybe they're going to eventually. But I just think, I don't know, are those films going to last, you know, another 40 years? Like in 40 years, people are still going to love them. So, but I think that he did that because he did have this business mind where he really like sought to like learn and apply um, different elements to his enterprise. And in the process of doing that, but the elements that he combined were myths, were great myths throughout time. And so as he did more and more of that, he just created like this conglomerate of mythology that resonated with so many people.
Go ahead.
Maybe as like an application to us, I don't think it's necessarily the conflict that made the story great. I think through the conflict, you gained insight into these characters. You found relatable things. You grew emotional attachment to them. And as a business, you want to understand your customer. You want your customer to understand you. How are they going to gain insight into who you are and what you can do for them, the value that you add? And how can you, build that emotional connection to where it's not a logical decision like you're talking about, oh, I just bought it even though it wasn't on sale, right? It was an emotional thing because of who they are and who you are, like Apple. Nobody buys Apple because it's a logical thing, it's because it's an emotional connection, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
Well, look at the guy on Wizard, he cares about insurance and whether your insurance company is the best. They got the Wizard, that's the personal plug.
Yeah, and I think progressives with their flow characters like really gone further with this too.
Does anybody have any business problems right now that what he talked about from a storytelling standpoint, how it ties into the business plan beforehand, and then bringing out to the humanity that you'd have any questions or Q&A you want to tie into?
The more transparent I am, and if I blog and it's really, really personal, I get about 5 times the number of hits on that blog than I do if I talk about business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If I talk about my personal struggle or, grief or my, what's going on in my life, people are super interested. So it's about, when you do business to business, you want the other business to trust you. Well, one of the ways is to tell, give them something personal and emotionally to attach to. So they feel like they get to know you.
You have to build that connection because people naturally want to help.
Yes.
If they feel that connection and they're purchasing your product to help or help this hero on the journey, they're going to want to buy into that and say, I want some. I mean, I've made decisions pay far more for a product just because I really like what they're saying, and I'm going to throw my money at them because I want to see them succeed.
Yes, for sure.
It's because I want to help them. I feel like I'm helping them.
And it's Kickstarter. A lot of times you donate to Kickstarter because you like the person that is doing the campaign.
So here's an interesting paradigm. You've got brick and mortar, you've got online, and you've got brick and click. The necessity for storytelling to be able to actually bring in that human element is that much more important in that 93 and 87% that you were talking about, because you don't ever have the opportunity to press the flesh or meet the person that represents that product. So it's like you'd have an opportunity coming into a premise or a retail that you may have done with Popeyes and stuff like that to actually encounter human culture. But as we become more and more of a virtual society and we have more of our things that are delivered from an e-commerce standpoint, it becomes that much more important that you can have a short, concise message that somebody understands about you, but then also have the content marketing that can paint the picture, because you don't ever get the chance to exchange commerce back and forth too. I mean, that's kind of my takeaway with them, where it has to be a compelling story. You've got an intriguing look on your face. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I usually most of my writing is for like really small companies or startups. Like usually it's just a 1-person show, and maybe they delegate tasks to like other freelancers, but they don't actually have employees. And sometimes I feel like I can't really tell a story about them because they're very private about it. They don't want the world to know that it's just like such a simple, such a small, bare bones structure. So I'm just wondering, like, what for startups and like businesses that are just barely getting started, that don't want to know, people know they're just getting started, like, how can you find inspiration for stories for them?
Well, I mean, using the hero's journey concept, which I think spawned this amazing thing, that's like you said, like, and I had a thing on the like, if you are starting your own business, like you are the hero. So you just gotta convince them to tell their story. I mean, did they start like yesterday, or are they? Because even if they're like 6 months along, there's a story. Even if they're 3 months along, there's a story.
Yeah.
And you can say.
And often they're in conceptual stage too, so it could be vaporware if it's a tech company, but it's based upon a really good concept. How do you paint the picture of that story that's still being proven out? There's not an MVP. I mean, that'd go into your world from a lean standpoint of how you can get the validation for something when there's really no proof of a consumer or need.
You just have to test
Well,
and try it to.
Yeah,
convince
you
yourself.
need some details out. I mean, you know, you make things sound bigger than they are, right? Without being specific.
But you want to help them see the future.
Yeah,
You want to help them see, look, you don't want to tell them I don't have anything right now.
right.
This is what I'm working to provide. This
Right.
is where we're going. If you can see this vision, if you can share that vision with them, you're gonna look.
And the story is the bridge between the chicken and the egg, basically.
Yeah, but you're in a rock and a hard place then, because
Yeah, it's just like,
they'll grow if you
feel like
make
that,
them
yeah.
let you.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like, find ways to be like, well, grow more.
But you don't want to paint a disingenuous picture either of something they can't deliver, so it's kind of a fun.
In my case with bamboo and composites, I have a little bit of history and a good background. But what I have, the story to tell is what am I doing now? And then where's the now going to the next step? And that seems to be as much or more than what people are interested in than giving them a big, long back history.
Awesome. We are at 1 o'clock. We can continue the dialogue for some time because I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't need to tell their story in some way, shape, or form. From a personal branding standpoint, you're in semi-retirement. You're going to have a story because you're in semi-retirement. You're still going to likely be doing something, painting the picture from when you come into a town from an Airbnb of who you are, what your elevator pitch is. I didn't get a chance to learn much about you, but all of us are in some sort of a position of being able to go forward. Did you get a chance to introduce everybody when I was out of here? Okay. What is your story?
Hi, everybody. Wow, everybody. My name is Michelle, and my story is that I was in an abusive relationship a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
I got beat up, and I found a modality. And if you think of your brain as a computer, what I do is I put my hands on your head and I delete any file that's not served. And it takes about an hour. And just telling my story, I'm getting emotional because it took me from being a victim to being empowered in my own life, and being a leader in my own life. So if you want to find out more about that, you can go to magicwithmissy.com. Missy spelled with an I. And my story is on my website. And I love